started working at Pilot for $12 an hour and 30 hours a week.
There's people in the streets anyway. It's 100 degrees outside. There should be shelters available. There's a whole bunch of million abandoned housing, and if there's money, those are things that need to be fixed and addressed, and you can put the homeless people in so they're not in the streets.
Houston looks rich, loud, and full of life. But if you just look a little closer, you'll see tents under bridges, people sleeping in cars, and entire communities living with nothing. How did we let it get this bad? And why does no one talk about it? You probably know Houston for its skyscrapers, oil money, and NASA vibes. But behind all that shine, there's a reality most people don't see, or maybe just don't want to. Right now, thousands of people in Houston are homeless. Not just downtown, but literally everywhere. In suburbs, under highways, near coffee shops you've probably been to. Yeah, the stats say things are improving, but the truth? The crisis just shifted into the background. It's not just about being broke. It's about rent doubling, brutal heat waves, mental health, and systems that leave people behind. So in this video, we're gonna break it all down. What's really going on in Houston? Who's being hit the hardest? And what's actually being done to fix it, if anything at all? To truly understand homelessness in Houston, we need to look at the latest data painting the reality on the ground. In 2024, a survey by the Coalition for the Homeless Houston revealed that over 3,200 people experience homelessness in various forms. Across the Houston metro area, this number is actually slightly down. From the peak crisis years of 2021 and 2022, when storms and extreme heat waves triggered drastic surges. But this decline does not mean the problem is solved. Of the total number, about 40% live without adequate shelter. Not in official shelters, but in tents on the roadside, converted vehicles, or open spaces beneath highway bridges. Locations like under downtown freeway overpasses, Midtown, once known for its lively cafes and art galleries, have become gathering places for the homeless community. Even in suburban areas like Edgebrook and White Oak Bayou, these communities grow and share scarce resources. This reality shows homelessness in Houston is not just about numbers, but also about widespread and varied distribution. From downtown to the outskirts, this makes addressing the crisis a complicated challenge. If we ask why this crisis continues, the answer is complex and full of challenges. One of the most obvious causes is the rapid surge in property prices and rent over recent years. As Houston's economy boomed, the housing market struggled to keep up with skyrocketing costs. Many families who once lived in simple homes can no longer afford monthly rents that have doubled or even more. As a result, many are pushed out of their homes, forced to find alternative shelter on the streets. But economics alone does not tell the full story. Climate change is also a serious threat. Houston is a city frequently hit by powerful storms, like Hurricane Harvey in 2017, which destroyed thousands of homes and displaced thousands of people. In the last 5 years, extreme heat waves have become more frequent, making street living even more dangerous and deadly. Those who stay in tents or vehicles without access to electricity, air conditioning, or even heating in winter face severe and layered health risks. Adding to this, mental health crises and substance abuse create a vicious cycle that is hard to break. Many in the homeless community struggle with psychological issues, depression, PTSD, schizophrenia, often without adequate care. Drug and alcohol abuse become both an escape and a trap, worsening their situation. Due to lack of access and social stigma, many choose to live in mobile communities or RVs on the city outskirts. There, they feel safer and freer, even with minimal facilities.
Just people in the streets anyway. It's 100 degrees outside. There should be shelters available. There's a whole bunch of million abandoned housing, and if there's money, those are things that could be fixed.
This crisis affects not only homeless individuals, but also reshapes the very face of Houston. Public infrastructure like train stations, public libraries, and even city parks become emergency shelters. This adds extra pressure on facilities meant to serve the general public, creating new challenges for city management. The rising number of homeless people also impacts safety concerns. Statistics show an increase in petty crimes and vandalism around homeless communities, causing worry among residents and visitors alike. This also affects tourism and local businesses, which begin to feel disrupted. But it's important to remember, many homeless individuals are victims of a failing system, not the primary perpetrators of crime. Deaths among the homeless are a tragic reality often overlooked. Data shows that since 2022, nearly 250 deaths directly related to homelessness have been recorded, caused by illness, violence, or exposure to extreme weather. Reports from the University of Houston indicate that in the same year, there were 238 deaths among homeless individuals. In Harris County, including Houston, these numbers serve as a stark warning that their living conditions are extremely fragile and demand urgent attention.
I'll need some help one way or another. If it's just bringing some food, some water, because you know it's kind of hot out here. But as long as I stay under this tree, I'm okay.
But the challenge of homelessness in Houston is not just about infrastructure and numbers. There is another complex issue: the public perception and attitude toward homeless people, which shapes the harsh realities they face. Homeless individuals confront stigma that can be as heavy as their daily struggle for survival. Many city residents view them negatively, filled with prejudice, often equating homelessness with laziness, crime, or drug dependency. Such views create social distance, making it harder for homeless people to receive the support they desperately need. Stigma also influences policies and response efforts. Due to widespread negative perceptions, many residents oppose homeless encampments in their neighborhoods, leading to social conflict and sometimes forced evictions. Meanwhile, homeless individuals feel alienated, losing self-esteem, and hesitate to access available aid services for fear of discrimination or unfair treatment. This adds to their psychological burden, strengthening the vicious cycle of poverty and isolation. To effectively address Houston's homelessness crisis, breaking down stigma and raising public awareness are just as crucial as providing facilities and support services.
Started working at Pilot for $12 an hour and 30 hours a week. You know, rob Peter to pay Paul, rob Paul to pay Peter and stuff until we lost it all.
Despite facing major challenges, serious efforts have begun by local government and social organizations to provide help. Groups like the Coalition for the Homeless, along with NGOs and faith-based organizations, offer support services ranging from food and clothing distribution to healthcare and psychological counseling. One promising innovation is the program called The Way Home. This program not only offers temporary housing assistance, but also provides intensive support to help homeless individuals find jobs, access mental health services, and rebuild their lives. The focus is on social reintegration to prevent people from returning to the streets. In addition, Houston's government is expanding affordable housing services and working to increase the capacity of emergency shelters. With better facilities, these initiatives are supported by community participation and donations from the private sector, which increasingly recognize their important role in solving this crisis. However, the biggest challenge remains structural change. Addressing poverty, unequal access to healthcare, and inclusive housing development. All of this requires ongoing collaboration from all levels of society. But how is the federal government responding to this issue? The policies of Donald Trump's administration had a significant impact on homelessness management in Houston and across Texas. Instead of continuing the housing-first approach, which emphasizes providing permanent housing as the first step, the Trump administration adopted a different strategy. According to a report by Democracy Forward, this strategy is known as Housing Fourth. This approach delays providing housing until individuals resolve personal issues, such as addiction or mental health problems. The approach was introduced by Robert Marbut, Trump's homelessness policy advisor, who also promoted criminalizing homelessness in public spaces and restricting direct aid in downtown areas. Additionally, budget cuts to the SNAP program during that period had a major impact. Nearly 700,000 low-income Texans faced the threat of losing food assistance, including many vulnerable to homelessness. Ultimately, homelessness in Houston reflects a complex social reality that demands more than a surface-level view. Beneath the shine of skyscrapers and bustling luxury, there are stories of human struggle for shelter, safety, and hope. Recognizing and understanding this situation is not only a matter of empathy, but also a call to real action. Houston, with all its dynamics and potential, can become a more inclusive and welcoming city for all its residents, including those marginalized for too long. Because truly, a city is not just measured by its buildings and streets, but by how it embraces and protects its most vulnerable citizens.